This is WCRN Weekend with your host, Pat Rice.
Welcome to another episode of WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830. On today's episode, we have Christina Andrianopoulas, who is part of the Grecian Festival Committee. She helps put together the annual Grecian Festival in Worcester, which has been happening for over 40 years. This summer will mark the 42nd year anniversary. The Grecian Festival is a 3-day celebration right in the beginning of June, the start of summer, where there is all different kind of Greek food and entertainment for the local community to enjoy. Hi, Christina. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing well. You enjoying the summer weather so far? Almost summer weather?
It is gorgeous. I love it. It almost makes me feel like I'm on a Greek island.
I've never been, but I can only imagine.
It is. And then, you know what? You don't really have to buy a ticket right now because all you have to do is show up on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and you can be a Greek for a day or a weekend.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like a vacation right there. And it's mostly free if you're in the area. You can just walk right down.
Yes, so basically we've been hosting and organizing Grecian festivals for 42 years. We have them every 2 years because it takes a village to actually organize and host a festival. And it is our biggest fundraiser. So besides opening our doors to our own Greek community, we open our doors to the entire New England community to come in and be transported into a feel of what Greece would be like, a little slice of Greece for the weekend.
That's very neat. That's very neat. Who originally created the Grecian Festival out in Worcester?
Well, basically, it was our pastor at the time, and this was back in 1976, I believe. And the pastor, he came from another parish, not in New England, and he said, you know what, we need to open our doors and share some of our Greek, our Hellenic heritage to the rest of the world. And so he did, and because of that, a committee formed together. I was not involved at the time because I was too young, but a committee came together and they organized the Grecian Festival, what it was back then. But now, 42 years later, it has grown to invite and have 20,000 participants come in, meaning attendees come in from all over New England. It's gotten to be one of the biggest ethnic Grecian festivals in the entire New England, not only size-wise, because we have an entire huge footprint, our entire parking lot on the backside of St. Spiridon Greek Orthodox Cathedral gets transformed into an enclosed tent that's custom made. So rain or shine, you're under a tent, and actually when you walk into the space, you're amazed at how we can pull this together.
Wow, that's quite amazing. So the whole event's under a tent.
Well, the outside portion of it is under the tent. But then we have this beautiful, I would say it's about 5,000 or 6,000 square foot family center that was newly renovated about 5 years ago. And that's where our agora, which is the marketplace, takes place. And then vendors who want to show their wares and sell their items, T-shirts, artifacts, souvenirs, Greek icons, anything that any vendor wants to show and sell is there. So it's really fun. You can walk around as if you are at a Greek island or you're at a Greek marketplace because you just kind of like weave around to the different vendors and it's decorated so you feel like you've been transported to Greece marketplace.
Is this festival always located at the St. Spiridon Orthodox Church?
Yes, it's St. Spiridon Greek Orthodox Cathedral, and that's okay because even the Greeks sometimes have, problem pronouncing it that way. But yes, it's a 102 Russell Street in Worcester, which is right across our historic Elm Park. And it's easy to get to if you put it on your GPS for those who don't know where it is. And it's about 50 miles from Boston, same from Hartford. It's about 40 miles north of Providence. So it's really equidistant, right in the center of all of New England. And so lots of people like to come because especially at the beginning of the summer, they love festivals. And not only do they get some of the best Greek food ever, but there's also a lot of art and culture. There's Greek dance performances. There is cathedral tour, which we have one of the most beautiful cathedrals in New England. And if you've never been in a Greek Orthodox Byzantine style cathedral, when you walk in, you're transformed because it's so spiritual, and the sparkling chandeliers and the stained glass. They have beautiful light streaming in there, and the glittering candles that are lit. It's just an amazing feeling. Whenever I go to the church office, I always stop in just to kind of get my spiritual fix a little bit. And now everybody can have a tour of it, a guided tour, to understand why we have those icons and what it means to have those beautiful displays of our spiritual leaders and saints.
Yeah. And if you think about it, Worcester actually does have quite a few beautiful churches, including the St. Spiridon Orthodox Church and the Notre Dame Church, which is people want to take down. Not to get off topic about it, but I feel like Worcester is known for a couple of those structures. Would you say there's a big Greek population within Worcester?
Yes, there's a very big one. First of all, our community has stewards and members that exceed 4,000. But when you look at the catchment around, I would say a 30 to 40 mile radius of Worcester, there's minimum 25,000 Greek families there.
Wow.
Not all of them go to St. Spiridon because, as I said, we have different churches around that are also Greek Orthodox churches. But when it comes to, it's like having a Catholic church. You can go into any one of the churches, and it's a similar type of service, and it's just a different priest, and it's a different community. But we've been hosting the biggest Grecian festival in New England for the longest time.
That's incredible, because when I was doing research online, I noticed that there's Grecian festivals that are happening in all different kind of towns, cities, throughout the summer. Now, is your committee involved with planning those festivals as well?
Yes, so it's not just a committee. My favorite line this year, I've been volunteering my services to the church in order to help market and publicize the festival. It requires a village to organize and host a Grecian festival, and truly it does. The other day, there was a group of volunteers who came in. Primarily, they're senior women who love to bake, and they were starting to bake the spanakopita, which is one of the items that we feature a la carte in our traditional food line. And that's a wonderful selection, mixture of spinach, feta cheese, and lots of egg mixture, and then layered among many, many, many layers of that very paper-thin phyllo dough. So they were making that. So when I walked into the hall where they were cooking, you could just smell the aroma. It was just attracting everybody in the neighborhood. And so we need to prepare. Look at how far in advance we are, because when you feed about 20,000 people over the 3-day period, you have to make sure you have a lot of food, because even though people love to come for our art and culture and our dance and our cathedral tours, many, many people come to have a meal there. And we're saying not just one meal, you can have a meal 3 times a day as well as 3 days for that weekend. Exactly, yeah.
And you won't have to eat for a whole week after that.
Oh, you can take it to go as well. We have to go packages that you can take. But when other than a Greek restaurant that you can happen to get into, can you go and get freshly made selections of traditional Greek food, which I can speak to as well if you want to talk about what we have to entice people.
Absolutely. We're going to get right into that, but we have to take a quick break. But once we get back, we will continue our conversations with Christina about the delicious foods and appetizers that the Grecian Festival has to offer, along with drinks, entertainment, and so much more. You've been listening to WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830.
Welcome to WCRN Weekend and your host, Pat Rice.
And we are back. In case you've missed it, we've been speaking with Christina Andrianopoulas, who is part of the Grecian Festival Committee Board, about what exactly the Grecian Festival is that happens in Worcester every summer starting in June. And what are some of the delicious foods that they have to offer at this event? In this segment, we're going to dig deep into the deep dishes of food that the Grecian Festival will have for your hungering appetite. And if you're not hungry yet, I can guarantee that after this segment, you will be hungry. When I was looking through what the Grecian Festival has to offer, it has a huge assortment of special Greek dishes. And I want to ask you, what are some of the most popular dishes?
Well, what I'd like to do is that it depends on everybody's taste level, but what we do is offer the most popular, obviously, because after 42 years, you know what people really like. So there's a traditional, it's very, very organized. You're going to go in there and you go, wow, how the heck do you feed all these people? Well, it's very, very organized, and thank God, and I didn't answer the committee question, but we have, I would say, 25 committee chairs that every single segment of the festival, for example, including mine, was marketing, publicity, and the program book, social media now, all head up their specific segment of the festival. And we have like a food and culinary chairperson, and that one's Paul Barber of the Flying Rhino that everybody knows, and his lovely wife, Melina, who, congratulations, they just became Yaya and Papu with the next generation of potential chefs, is their granddaughter, Mila.
Very nice. Congratulations.
And they devote their entire weekend to the festival and pre-prepping in order for it. So the foods that Paul oversees, what he's done since he's taken over, and his wife, Melina, as the culinary chair, has elevated it to be more of like a Worcester's best chef type of foods. So he's collaborated with some of the well-known restaurateurs and chefs of Worcester County who happen to be Greek. And they come up with a menu over the weekend. So not only do they have the traditional food line, so the traditional food line, what it includes is 4 dinners. And what we call is we have a half-roasted, half-baked chicken. And then we have pasticcio, which is the vegetarian pasticcio, which is our version of a lasagna, but it doesn't really have a tomato sauce in it, but it's...
What does it use instead of the tomato sauce?
Well, we use fat macaroni and lots of cheese, oozing cheese, and then it's layered over or soaked in what we call bechamel sauce, which is a creamy, milky type of sauce that bakes in it, and then it bakes it so it's firm, so you can just cut a piece out, and it's
nice.
great. So it looks like a lasagna, but it's not those layers. It's our own type of macaroni, but it's got feta cheese and different types of cheeses, and it's, as I'm talking about, my mouth gets watery.
I'm starving right now. I need to get up and grab a piece somewhere.
Now, that's just one dinner. So we have the half-baked roasted chicken. And then we have the vegetarian. We call it vegetarian because one night we have a special that we have the seasoned meat in it. And then another dinner is the pork souvlaki, which is made with marinated pork cubes. They've been marinated for a long time, seasoned, and then skewered and then cooked over a grill, an open grill. And so the souvlaki is one of the dinners. I believe we have 4 dinners. Now, those dinners come with sides of a selection of 4 different sides. And that could be the fasouloukia, which is the Greek green beans. That is Yaya's recipe handed down. I happen to have my mom's recipe that I always make, but it's slow simmered green beans that are still crisp, but then it has a rich tomato sauce on it, and it's onions and seasonings. It's one of my favorite.
Sounds delicious.
Sides. A Greek salad or rice pilaf. And those are the sides that you can have with it. You can have a selection of those sides.
Wow, that's fabulous. And I also read that you guys also have like the soup of the day.
Oh, yes. So I didn't even get to the spotlights, but every day, and this is what Paul brought to the table about 7 years ago, is that every day there is a chef special. So Friday night we have the Aegean fish stew, and that is a special recipe by Val, who owns Val's in Holden, Mass. So she prepares this, and that's what we serve until we run out. But every day we have the Greek avgolemino soup, which is the egg lemon rice soup, which is one of my favorites. It's like tangy with lemon in it. But Friday night we have the special, which is the Aegean stew. On Saturday, our special is the meat pasticcio. On Saturday, lamb shanks cooked until it falls off the bone, and that is a specialty that Paul and Melina start baking ahead of time, and that's offered from in the afternoon 5 o'clock until it runs out on Saturday. And that's another special. And then on Sunday, we have, back by popular demand, is the meat moussaka. So what moussaka is very similar to the pasticcio, but it's layers of thinly sliced eggplant and potatoes with a seasoned meat mixture in there. And then it's cushioned in the same kind of oozing cheese and bechamel sauce, baked so it's firm. And when you pull that out, you'll never have eggplant parmesan again.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds like heaven. I actually haven't had too much Greek food in my life, but I think I'm convinced that it might be a bit better than Italian food because it's very similar. Like you mentioned, it's sort of like the lasagna, but it just has its own little twists and turns to it. I really need to check it out. I need to open up my varieties more. You know, I get tired of eating the same stuff I'm always having. I might have to stop by this festival. This sounds like really
Stop
good
by.
food.
You have to become an honorary Greek for a day or a weekend. And everybody who comes, that's how they should feel, because one of our favorite things to do, and the reason why we do it is besides feeding everybody, we love to feed. Every social event revolves around food, is because we love hosting events. It's called philoxenia, which means brotherly love. And we love for you to come and participate. And one of the best compliments you can give us is to come to the festival and enjoy the food, enjoy all aspects of the food. The food that I just touched upon. Now, not only the dinners, but you have a lot of these items that I represented, including
You have in the studio
spanakopita.
right here, for an example.
Oh, I haven't even touched about the crowning joy of the glory of the pastry, but we have also a la carte. That's where we have the spanakopita, the tiropita, which is the spinach little pies that I was telling you about. They're not pies, they're phyllo dough cut pieces. It's made cheese. There's one that has spinach in it, and other a la carte items that you can just go and say, oh, I think I just want spanakopita and some salad.
Like little appetizer things.
Right. And if you don't want the traditional food line, we have the quick service line. So we accommodate everybody. The quick service line is right when you walk out of the main area of the foyer, right adjacent to the Agora marketplaces. You walk to the tent. The very first thing you see is the quick service line.
I don't want to, but we have to take a quick break. We're getting into the really good stuff right now because who doesn't love fast food? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in our next segment. You've been listening to WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830.
You're listening to WCRN Weekend. Once again, here's your host, Pat Rice.
And we return. In case you missed it, we've been speaking with Christina, who is part of the Grecian Festival Committee Board, about the upcoming Grecian Festival in Worcester this June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, only weeks away, about the food, drinks, and entertainment that they'll be delivering to us. In this segment, we continue our lengthy discussion about the food, including appetizers, along with recipes, and some of the art that will be on display. So now, Christina, tell us a little bit about the fast service line. What does this line have to offer for food?
And that's where the gyro and souvlaki sandwiches are being cooked. And this year we have 7 vertical rotisserie that have seasoned meat. It's a mixture of lamb and beef, and it's layered onto this rotisserie that's vertical. I don't know if you've seen it before, and it just turns.
Goes round and round.
And then the servers cut it off and put it on a warm piece of pita bread, pop it up with the fixings, which includes something called the tzatziki sauce, which is the yogurt and onion and dill sauce that goes right on there, and it's amazing. And we also add for the first time in our quick service line is Greek gourmet burgers.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, it's our own seasoned beef, all beef patties that we make, but we top it off with the Greek feta and tzatziki sauce on it. So you get a bit of the gyro feeling and the souvlaki because that sauce is on there too, but on a hamburger. And so we just thought that people would love to know that we do Greek gourmet burgers and
People
Greek
will love
fries.
it.
Greek fries too. Yep.
Well, what's the difference between a Greek fry and a French fry?
Well, the French copied us, number one. I think. I haven't substantiated that. But anyway, the Greek fries are just the way they're cut differently, and they're also seasoned differently. And it's like, I would say that when you walk into a Greek home, they go, here, have some Greek fries. And you look, and they look like roasted potatoes, but they're not. And they're just cut a little bit differently, cooked a little bit differently. And I have to tell you, they are amazing.
It sounds amazing. I think I already have my mind made up. I'm going to this festival.
Don't come by yourself.
No, I'm going to try to bring my friends, family, everyone. It sounds like a very enjoyable experience. And, besides the foods and all the treats, I mean, we could literally go on for hours about it. You guys really put together this huge festival. And I can't even imagine. It has to be pounds of food that you guys are getting ready, including everything. I was going to ask you, how many pounds do you estimate that food's being cooked up for this event?
Well, I can't tell you off the cuff right now, but I have the statistics, and we're putting them into our full-color keepsake program book that people just get when they walk in, 72 pages of it. It includes recipes that the chefs have given us, and it will give you fun facts about how much feta cheese we use and all of that. And it's obviously...
You've been giving out the recipes, too?
We're giving out some recipes. Some of the spotlight chefs are giving up, like the fasoulakia, which is the green bean recipe, pork souvlaki, how they marinate it and skewer it so that it's done perfectly like a Greek. So that's in our program book that you get, and you can take it home and you can kind of relive the festival again in our full-color program book. One of the things that I almost forgot, and we can't forget because people love our Greek pastry. Now, that weekend there's no calories. Do not worry about calories. Also, because you can then dance the night away with our Greek music. But in the meantime, enjoy the Greek pastry because you're not going to get Greek pastry like this because, again, our recipes have been handed down by our yayas, and a lot of the yayas are making it. It's our Greek ladies philanthropic group. They get together and they start baking the pastries ahead of time and serve it. You can buy it by the piece. You can buy it by a package, a to-go package. And so you've got the pastries. There's a pastry station, as well as many of the food lines have the pastry that you can say, I'll take a pastry with my meal today. Yeah.
And along with the food, you can also follow it down with a nice cold. You guys have domestic imported beers and wines. What is available on tap or in bottle? Do you guys have any Greek beers or wines?
We have a wide selection of beers that actually our beverage or liquor chairman, believe it or not, we have one because we do go through a lot of beer and wine. And ouzo, we also offer ouzo, which is the Greek little aperitif that's very popular. And I can't tell you again, there's one I probably would be Mythos again, but I'm not sure because every festival he looks and says, I'm going to bring the newest brand or I'm going to bring a popular brand. But we have a full bar, but what I mean is beer and wine. And then again, some of the Greek liqueurs that I just told you that are indicative of the Greek. So please come in, have a meal, drink responsibly. But I have to tell you, if you're going to have a drink and just a little mezze, we call it, an appetizer while you're drinking, then get up and dance because you'll burn everything off, calories and your alcohol level.
Absolutely, I believe it, especially in June because I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. The sun's going to be out. The temperatures are going to be nice. And this is what people wait for all year. And when it comes to festivals and foods, everyone loves that. And so, as you mentioned, the Grecian Festival offers all different kind of events. Could you tell us a little bit about these events? Like, I know you guys have the shopping in the Agora.
Yep.
What are some products that people can purchase?
Okay, first of all, I want to tell everybody, because we've been chatting for a while, that it's June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So Put it down in your calendar right now, starting Friday night at 5 p.m. and goes until 10 p.m. on Sunday. So, and you can log on to our website, GrecianFestival.org, to see the times again and everything we've talked about, because a lot of people can't remember everything we've talked about. But
It's a lot of information at once.
Right. So the Agora is made so that you feel like you've been transported to a shopping area, an outdoor shopping area, either in the Greek islands or in Athens, because the weather's so beautiful in the Mediterranean that there's a lot of great weather, so there's a lot of outdoor vendors. One of my favorite displays is what we call the Greek cultural display, because the women who migrated here years and years ago and had their children here and now have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, they have saved their artifacts and how they designed their home when they used to live in the villages. So they reenact that, they redesign that. So you'll have a couch that has hand-embroidered lace on it, and you'll feel as if you just walked into a village home of where they came from back when they came 50 years ago. So you can go in there and see it. And these are priceless items too, because they're beyond antiques. They brought them over as original items. You'll be able to see that. That's in our Agora. If you want some souvenirs, we love the Greek protective talisman eye. There's a lot of jewelry and necklaces of that. We also have scarves. We have icons. And if you want to purchase an icon, you can, and there's other religious artifacts as well. There's crafts. There's food stuff there too that you can't buy in the traditional food line. There might be like candies or chocolates or something that are imported from Greece. So there's a lot of different items in the Agora. I have never found anybody who says they're bored with our Agora. It's a wide selection, and usually up to the week before, we don't really even know how many there will be there, because people just find out about it and say, can I display my wares? Can I display my wares? And they meet our criteria, and they come in.
I was going to say that was a lot more than what I was expecting, and we have so much more to cover. The Grecian Festival in Worcester is a huge event. It has been going on for 42 years, and it's the 42nd anniversary. It is happening this June 1st, June 2nd, and June 3rd. So it's happening all weekend long. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the party doesn't stop. And join us next weekend as Christina and I have so much to talk about. We are going to get into the music, the DJs, and some of the dancing. That's happening next Sunday, only on WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830. On a side note, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Mother's Day weekend and make plans to go to the Grecian Festival.
This has been WCRN Weekend and your host, Pat Rice.